As we're all waiting for the jury to come back with their decision, let me remind you what this case is actually about. Johnny Depp's suing Amber Heard for defamation, defaming her by writing that op-ed article, which for some reason everyone in the world thought the article was about Johnny Depp. And so that hurt him a lot. So let's hear what Amber Heard's lawyer, Mr. Rottenborn, has to say in Amber's defense.
Because it seems like plaintiff is proceeding under a theory of defamation by implication, plaintiff bears the burden of proving that the statements at issue were designed and intended by Ms. Heard to imply a defamatory meaning and show that Ms. Heard acted with actual malice. The statements are true on their face. 2 years before she wrote the op-ed, Ms. Heard did, in fact, become a public figure representing domestic abuse when she obtained a domestic violence restraining order against Mr. Depp.
Excuse me? She obtained what? Against who?
There's a dispute in this case that Mr. Depp was indeed accused of abuse. Those are facts that are true.
But Mr. Depp was accused of abuse by your client, Miss Heard. And you're her defense lawyer. Do you have anything to say to defend her?
His mom used to call him One Eye.
What's your
next
question?
The next.
Okay, Mr. Rottenborn has nothing. Let's give Elaine a shot.
All right. Yes, ma'am. Your next witness.
Next witness from Jacobs. She's also by definition.
Could you turn your microphone again? I'm sorry.
While we're waiting for her to put on her microphone, I have a few things to say. These two lawyers don't really need a microphone because they have no defense. Matter of fact, microphones hurt their case because coming up we will hear them say that Amber Heard didn't use Depp's name in the article to avoid being taken to court, or well, at least not to lose in court. It's not about the content of the article. It's the article itself. And Amber Heard is on audio. She said to Depp, "You made me do it by going on the offense." Not sure what that means, but Johnny got her to write the article. Now right there is that she wrote the article because of his action. More reasons coming up.
The op-ed wasn't Ms. Heard's idea, that the ACLU asked her to write the op-ed, and indeed that they even wrote the first draft, and then that Ms. Heard vetted the finished article with her lawyers and with lawyers from the ACLU to make sure that it wasn't problematic.
This is hearsay.
June 21st, 2000.
And what kind of problematic things were they looking for?
The ACLU acknowledged that Ms. Heard's op-ed referred to Mr. Depp. It's very clear that the ACLU and Ms. Heard intended. That was the whole purpose of this. When Jessica White, who actually wrote the op-ed that Ms. Heard later adopted, she says, quote, to Mr. Doherty, "So much for not mentioning JD," when the USA Today made clear that they, like everybody else who read the op-ed, understood that as Ms. Heard clearly intended, it referred to Mr. Depp.
She ran the article by a lawyer before publishing, and they talked about leaving out Johnny Depp's name. That means at some point his name was in there, and that right there is proof the article had something to do with Depp.
The testimony of Terrence Doherty was very clear that when they took out the references to Johnny Depp, no one was interested in this article anymore. So she said, put it back in, make it more spicy.
All right, that's enough of testimony about the article. Let's get back to the physical and emotional stuff.
All right. Yes, ma'am. Your next witness.
Next witness from Tracy Jacobs. She's also by definition implication.
I'm sorry. One more time.
Yeah, Your Honor, we'd like to call Tracy Jacobs.
Back to Rottenborn then.
The undisputed evidence is that he did, in fact, abuse Amber.
This is hearsay.
June 21st. But what there isn't a dispute in this case is non-physical abuse. Both Mr. Depp and his expert Shannon Curry have testified that abuse may come in many forms, but it may also be verbal, may be emotional, may be psychological.
And they cannot prove that. And remember when the psychologist that was clearly on Amber's side claimed that Amber's abuse was reactive? Well, all the evidence points to Johnny Depp's actions being reactive to her.
His mom calling him One Eye. undisputed evidence in the record of non-physical abuse by Mr. Depp toward Ms. Heard. There's evidence in the record of recordings, messages, including messages written in blood with his finger, blood and paint, vile names, shouting, menacing and threatening statements. There's the video, the kitchen video.
Maybe I missed it, but what did Mr. Depp say directly to Miss Heard? Not in texts to his friends.
In Sweetser, there's the audio of him calling Miss Heard, like I say, there's the audio of him asking her to cut him, and whether she wanted to be cut.
Those were rhetorical questions?
There's plenty of evidence out of the words or out of the mouth of.
That's all reactionary. That's the reaction of someone who's being abused.
Mr. McGivern also testified about Mr. Depp, quote, rearranging her closet, throwing racks of clothing down onto the floor and throwing at least one rack down the stairs. So further evidence of
That was, again, a reaction to something she did.
Can even admit to themselves.
His mom calling him One Eye.
Earlier in the trial, when Mr. Depp was on the stand, we all got an education on what hearsay is. Then Amber Heard's lawyers put Amber on the stand, and here's an example of how weak her case was.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay. Objection, Your Honor, that's still hearsay. Objection, Your Honor, hearsay. Objection, hearsay. Objection, hearsay. Objection, Your Honor, hearsay. May we approach, please? Objection, hearsay. Objection, hearsay. Objection, hearsay. Objection, hearsay. Objection, hearsay.
You can't say what she said.
Objection calls for speculation and hearsay. Your Honor, I'm going to object on hearsay. Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Don't tell us what the co-star said. Just tell us what your communication was with Mr. Depp.
Meltdown, meltdown, meltdown.
Amber, how did Mr. Depp's statements and threats to you that you were discussing, how do those continue to manifest themselves today?
Every single day I have to relive the trauma.
What drama? Hearsay.
Externalization of blame.
Maybe she could try suing her psychiatrist for not fixing her problems, but she signed an agreement with Mr. Depp that they would just end this back and forth battle. And then she goes and writes the article that brought us here. She's being sued because everybody knows the article is about him, which is the reason they debated having his name in it, because it's about him.
My intimate partners have rules about how they can deal with me, how they can touch me.
How many intimate partners does she have?
I have rules for doctors and medical professionals I see, gynecologists I see.
How many gynecologists does she need?
A panic attack.
This mugshot does appear to be real. Here's the full picture I found. We do know she was arrested in 2009 for DV.